There comes a moment in life quiet, almost unannounced, when the heart, once so full of certainty, begins to tremble under its own weight. You may have felt it one evening when the sun dipped behind the clouds and all the world seemed to exhale. Or perhaps it came to you in the middle of laughter, when suddenly something within you whispered, "This too will pass." It is in such moments that the heart begins to break, not as a tragedy, but as a kind of opening. For when a heart breaks, it does not shatter, it unfolds. The tight fist of protection, of clinging, of need loosens, and through the cracks, light begins to enter. You see, the purpose of pain is not punishment. It is revelation. Every sorrow, every disappointment, every quiet ache that hums beneath your ribs is a teacher disguised as loss. The heart breaks not because it is weak, but because it has outgrown its shell. And if you listen closely, you can hear it, the subtle cracking of the walls you built around yourself. The sound of your defenses softening. It's almost sacred, that sound, because what is breaking is not you, but the illusion of who you thought you were. The heart is not betraying you. It's freeing you from your own confinement. When the heart breaks, something ancient awakens. The eyes that once saw the world as a collection of separate things begin to see the unity behind it all. The lover, the beloved, and the longing between them all made of the same light. The trees breathing, the wind sighing through their leaves, the pulse in your wrist all moving in the same dance. What once felt like you and them becomes a single, boundless rhythm of existence. Awareness, you see, is not something you possess. It is what you are. It is the open sky in which every cloud of emotion drifts and dissolves. The clouds may change, joy, fear, grief, desire, but the sky remains. And once you know yourself as the sky, you no longer fear the storms. Because even when thunder roars and the world seems to crumble, you begin to sense that the storm, too, is the sky playing with its own power. You are not a leaf tossed by the wind, you are the wind itself, curious about its own movement. But few dare to look directly into that awareness, because to truly see is to lose every illusion you once clung to. The self you thought you were begins to fade, and with it, the walls between you and everything else. That fading feels like death, but it is not death. It is the end of pretending. And that is what frightens us most. The idea that what we took to be us might not be real at all. Yet within that very fear lies liberation. For when the mask falls, what remains is not emptiness, it is life itself, naked and infinite. And so, when the heart breaks, it begins the oldest journey, the inward fall. It tumbles from the mind's constructions into the rawness of being. And somewhere in that descent, you realize the light was never outside you. It was always the glow behind your seeing. When the heart finally surrenders to its breaking, you feel the strange peace of something larger taking over, as though the universe itself were breathing through you. And for the first time, you sense that every ending is really a beginning disguised in tenderness. The wound you feared becomes a window. The ache becomes an invitation. And you begin to understand it was never about holding on, it was always about learning to open. There is a strange moment that follows awakening, the shock of clarity. It arrives without warning, like the hush that follows thunder. One looks around and whispers inwardly, "How long have I been asleep?" For most of our lives, we walk through dreams, not of the night, but of the day, the dream of me and mine. We polish this image we call myself, like a mask we must never remove. We build fortresses of thought, decorate them with beliefs, guard them with fear, and call that confinement identity. We mistake noise for aliveness, motion for meaning, and then one moment, one breath awareness cuts through the fog. It's not grand or thunderous. It's startling in its simplicity. The curtain lifts, and you see that everything you ever chased was smoke rising from your own fire. Every victory, every loss, every drama, all part of the same vast dream. At first, this seeing feels unbearable, because the things you clung to for stability, your stories, your roles, your ambitions begin to dissolve. You realize the world you built in your mind was made of glass, and when that glass cracks, it is dazzling and painful all at once. This is why so few remain awake. The light of truth, though gentle, is blinding to eyes accustomed to shadow. We yearn to return to our comforting dream, to the familiar hum of plans and purposes, the safe rhythm of forgetting, to sleep again within the warm illusion of control. And so we do. We busy ourselves with chatter, scrolling through endless images, chasing another pleasure, another meaning, another distraction, anything to avoid the terrible intimacy of silence. For if one were to truly stop to sit still and simply be, the illusion would burn away like morning mist before the sun. And what would remain? Only this. Only the sound of breath moving through your chest. Only the pulse of life humming in your veins. Only the vast, wordless mystery looking out through your eyes. It takes courage to stay here, because to remain awake in a world addicted to distraction is an act of quiet rebellion. To see through the masks, both yours and others, requires tenderness, not defiance. You begin to sense that compassion, not intellect, is the true sign of awakening. There is no badge in enlightenment, no arrival, no prize. Awakening is not the top of a mountain, it is the clearing of fog in the valley where you already stand. It is the gentle, humbling recognition that you never left home. That every search was a circle, drawn in light, returning always to now. But habit is a powerful tide. The pull of noise, of self-importance, of striving it, lulls us back into forgetfulness. We drift once more into the rhythm of doing, the hypnosis of becoming. Like waves longing to be the sea, yet terrified to dissolve into it. And yet, even in our forgetting, something eternal remembers. Even as we fall back into sleep, a faint luminosity lingers, a whisper between heartbeats, a softness behind the eyes. It says, "Wake up, beloved. You are not the dreamer, you are the dream itself awakening." So do not despair when you fall back into the trance of the world. Even your forgetting is part of the remembering. The universe plays both roles, the sleeper and the one who wakes. And perhaps this, too, is love. That awareness hides from itself, just to feel the joy of finding itself again. To see clearly is both a blessing and a burden. The cost of knowing is innocence, the soft, unexamined peace that once protected you from yourself. When you awaken, you begin to see behind every smile the quiet ache of longing, behind every ambition the fear of being forgotten, behind every argument the trembling desire to be understood. Clarity pierces like sunlight through the thin curtain of comfort. It illuminates everything, the beauty and the brokenness, together. You start to notice how much of human life is built upon pretending. Pretending to be certain, pretending to be strong, pretending not to be afraid. And for a time, this truth can feel heavy. You wish, perhaps, that you could unsee, that you could slip back into the half-sweet blindness of your old life, where dreams were solid and meanings were easy. But once the veil lifts, there is no returning. The light burns too honestly to be forgotten. It continues to pour through the cracks, even when you try to close them. You may try to rebuild the illusion with plans, with distractions, with philosophies that comfort the mind. But deep down, you will know the game is transparent now. The world you once thought was real has become translucent, shimmering with mystery instead of certainty. Awakening strips you bare. You discover that what you called you is merely a collection of habits, memories, and stories, like ripples on the surface of a pond that forgets it is water. And when the mask begins to fall, terror arises. You ask, if I am not these stories, then what am I? But look closely. Beneath the trembling, there is peace. Beneath the fear of emptiness, there is fullness beyond measure. The heart that breaks learns its most profound secret. To fall apart is to fall into wholeness. And yet, the temptation to sleep again is strong. The world calls out to you with familiar music, soft, nostalgic, persuasive. It says, come back, forget this silence. Return to your names, your roles, your desires. And part of you obeys, because even enlightenment longs for the warmth of forgetting. You return to your routines. You laugh again, worry again, play the roles life gives you: parent, lover, dreamer, fool. But something within you has changed. A quiet witness has been born. Even in the noise, it listens. Even in the chaos, it knows stillness. You begin to play the game of life, but lightly now. No longer trapped by it, but enchanted by its poetry. You understand that the mask and the face are both divine expressions. You learn to dance between illusion and truth without clinging to either. For awakening does not take you out of life, it returns you to it, fully and tenderly. You see the sacred in the ordinary. You taste food more deeply, not because it is different, but because you are. You notice the weight of a raindrop on your palm, the hum of silence between words. Even sorrow becomes a teacher, the soft sculptor shaping the contours of compassion. And so the cost of knowing becomes the gift of presence. You lose the small world of your imagination, but gain the vastness that was always here, the living moment unfolding without boundary, without demand. You no longer strive to become someone. You simply are, a witness, a participant, a rhythm in the infinite symphony of being. And in that simplicity, life begins to sing again, not as noise, but as truth disguised as sound. There comes a time when solitude no longer feels like absence. It begins to feel like the gentle presence of everything. A companion so subtle it doesn't speak. It simply breathes through you. You begin to realize that aloneness and loneliness are not the same. Loneliness is the ache of separation, the cry of a mind that still believes it stands apart. Aloneness is freedom, the vastness that holds the world without needing to possess it. In solitude, you start to hear the quiet music beneath all things. You sit by the window, watching the rain trace slow rivers down the glass. Each drop is a universe collapsing into another. And as you watch, something within you softens. For you recognize yourself in that falling water, in that shimmer before it returns to the earth. The mind grows silent, not through effort, but through understanding. You see, that thought was never the enemy, only the surface noise of the sea. Awareness is the deep beneath it, vast and untouched. When you stop fighting the waves, you begin to sink. And in that sinking, you discover stillness. Stillness is not the end of movement. It is the calm in which movement happens effortlessly. The listening that exists before the first word is spoken, the pause between heartbeats where eternity hides. This is the transformation of solitude. When silence no longer frightens you, when emptiness begins to feel like home, for you are never truly alone. Every breath is borrowed from the trees. Every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of the stars. Every thought, every emotion is a ripple in the vast mind of life itself. You are not apart from the universe, you are its awakening. And in your solitude, compassion blooms. You begin to see others not as strangers, but as reflections, different waves of the same ocean, different notes in the same eternal song. You no longer need to fix or change them. You love them simply because they are part of the unfolding as you are. Even grief has its strange beauty. It breaks the heart open wider. Each tear becomes a prism, refracting light from another world. The heart still breaks, again and again, but now you know breaking is how it learns to love more deeply. Every fracture lets more light through. You begin to live gently, to listen deeply, to love without needing, to laugh softly at the divine absurdity of it all, that you are both nothing and everything, a wave that knows it is water. So when the heart breaks, do not rush to mend it. Sit quietly beside it. Let it tremble, let it open. For within that ache lies the doorway to the sacred, to the unnameable presence that breathes through all things. Be still. The universe is speaking in silence. The rustle of leaves, the hum of rain, the rhythm of breath. It is all one voice whispering the same truth. You were never apart. And one day, as you sit in that vast quiet, you will see that what you sought has always been here. The heart never truly broke. It only remembered how to see. So breathe. Let the wind pass through you. Let the water carry your reflection. Let silence complete your words. For when all striving fades, and every mask has fallen away, there remains only this, the tender awareness of being alive, watching itself in wonder.